Mammoth Cave Railroad was completed in 1886 and originated in Nashville and Louisville and was widely used taking tourists to Mammoth Cave Hotel. This little relic from the train now sits in the entrance to the Mammoth Cave camping ground, located in front of the main ranger office. Here's a map of where it traveled and the type of people that traveled on it. In this RV park, they have a very inexpensive laundromat, full-service grocery store with ice, very clean bathrooms, and a post office, making your stay in an RV or tent quite comfortable. The ranger station has clear maps of the campground and caves that also exhibit in several other areas of the campground, helping one decide what to see and where to go. It is a large area with paved roads and many clean bathrooms and showers conveniently located throughout. They have recycling, and the park is immaculately clean, which is always refreshing. There are plenty of places to park an RV or any size, or to set up a tent. And there's many picnic tables and grills to enjoy cooking out between visiting the caves. There were plenty of places that you could go to enjoy side trails. One could partake with friends and family and walk off the delicious barbecue lunch. There was also a lot of green area for the children to play. Paved pathways ran all through the area to walk your dog or travel from one part of Mammoth Cave Park to another. And there was plenty of wildlife to see. Squirrels, raccoons, and deer. We watched a doe and two fawn for quite some time. The fawns were curious and approached us instead of walking away. The park was full of singing birds that were just delightful. Something else we found wonderful was the amphitheater right there in the park. Everyone staying at the campground could go watch a film in the evening once it got dark, and there were lights along the sidewalk to help you find your way. A little to the right of the cinema are several lovely cabins to stay in. What I like most about the nighttime cinema was a historical film that they played explaining the extensive exploration of the caves over the years. It was as entertaining as it was enlightening. Some of the cottages are still being built. They are really cute bungalows and quite cozy, with lots of green space for the family to enjoy the outdoors. We thoroughly enjoyed walking the trails throughout the Mammoth Cave recreation area. Green River runs through the park and is the original source of the cave's creation. It was a hot afternoon, so several couples and their dogs were enjoying the cool stream.
I will make a long story short. Floyd Collins had a cave in his land called Crystal Cave. It was far from the road, so he didn't get many tourists. Floyd set out to find a cave closer to the road, and he found Sand Cave. He went in alone to explore it and got stuck in a narrow passage. His family found them 48 hours later, but could not get him out, so they called for help. Many people came to help, so many that it created a kind of a circus atmosphere. So the governor sent in the National Guard to keep order so the excavators could do their job. They got to him 16 days later and found him dead. His death inspired the federal government to create Mammoth Cave National Park.
Our RV park was only 7 minutes from Mammoth Cave State Park, and there were many enjoyable trails in the region. This is one of them. It had a great boardwalk that took us around a large lake with several wood benches to stop and sit on along the way. There was a whole group of happy frogs that were swimming and resting on lily pads. They seemed as curious about us as we were about them. The forest that surrounded the lake was refreshing and inspiring. Dinosaur World was a wonderful, fun-filled place to visit. It had an interesting museum and a large gift store with reasonably priced items for family or friends of all ages. We've been to a couple dinosaur parks, but this one was the most extensive and educational that we'd ever seen. All the most popular dinosaurs were represented, but also many that we'd never seen before were there. Each exhibit was outside in its natural environment in a group, herd, or family setting, with an excellent description of where they were located, how they lived, what they ate, and their size and body types. I was investigating these dinosaurs, and then I saw these oviraptors, here that originated from Mongolia. Those large bones on their heads were obviously for butting their opponents, and they could really bite hard since their jaws were the most powerful part of their bodies. These are Luin-sternus. They were one of the largest early meat eaters and only had 3 toes. These are the Chintasaurus. The huge bones on their faces and on the tops of their heads were excellent for fighting predators and made it much more difficult to take a bite out of them. These are one of the smaller dinosaurs found in North America and also in Europe. They are noted for their small heads and golf ball-sized brains. Now that's a scary big boy. Unlike the meat eaters, here we have an adorable family of vegetarians. They lived in packs with adults, adolescents, and infants like one big happy family. There's a T-Rex watching his next meal from a distance. The bones and the heads of these dinosaurs were so heavy, it's hard to imagine how they could have held them up. These Triceratops were vegetarians that lived in herds. They traveled and grazed with their young. These were called the mother of the dinosaurs because they were always found with many eggs when their bones were discovered. They would lay up to 20 in a nest, and the mother would stay to protect them because she would not leave her young to be eaten by predators. And what's that hiding in the forest among the trees? Shh! It's a huge meat eater! Let's just quietly sneak away. This is a Spinosaurus. I can only imagine that they got their name because of those large protruding bones that ran down their backs. These Spinosaurus were found in Africa, where they found a complete skeleton, but unfortunately it was destroyed during World War II. And this little guy is a Sylvosaurus, and he was found in Kansas. He may be low to the ground, but he is at least 15 feet long and 4 feet high, much like a huge crocodile. Here we have the woolly mammoth, one of my favorites. Look at the bones on this guy's head. I wouldn't want to pick a fight with him. and his mouth looks much like a parrot's beak. There's some hungry-looking raptors coming our way. This is a Pterosaurus. They were colorful and located in North America. These are some handsome dinosaurs. They remind me of today's rhinoceros, and they travel in family groups. This is a Diptosaurus, and as far as I'm concerned, he is much more frightening than the T-Rex. Here's a baby Tyrannosaurus. He's a cutie. His sister is hatching out of her egg. This part of the park shows several species living in harmony or lurking about. These little guys are unusual. They were found in Montana. Over to the left, we have the Brontosaurus family. They're looking for those tasty leaves in the tallest trees around here. There are many other activities to enjoy in Dinosaur World. The children can play on the playground, or the family could have a picnic in a variety of places. One can pan for gems by purchasing a bag of stones and separating them in the flowing stream. Or, you and the kids could get together and sift through the sand to discover dinosaur bones.
In Bowling Green, we went to the Aviation Heritage Park. They have many wartime airplanes in there, and they all have their own story. This is the Bell UH-1 Iroquois, also called the Huey. As you can see, that airplane served in Vietnam, and it was the widely used military helicopter in Vietnam. And some of them were heavily armed and used as gunships. Also, they used to carry troops and wounded people out of the area. This one here next is the T-38, the NASA T-38 Talon. And it was the first supersonic trainer. It was a two-seater, maximum speed 1.3 Mach. It was manufactured by Northrop, and the first flight was March 1959. This one here is the Lockheed Shooting Star. It was a trainer version. This is a trainer version of the airplane, and also known as the T-Bird. The next one is the Grumman Panther F9F. He had a Pratt & Whitney engine, and the cruising speed was 481 miles an hour, and it saw extensive combat in the Korean War. This is the F-111. It was developed by General Dynamics, and it pioneered technologies such as variable sweep wings, afterburning turbofan engines, automated terrain following radar, and other things. Very soon you will see the Sikorsky. It was a twin-engine anti-submarine warfare helicopter, and it was the official helicopter of the President of the United States. And this is the Phantom 550. It was the actual plane that Brigadier General Dan Cherry flew in Vietnam when he shot down a MiG-21. Every single plane in this museum has a story, and it's really interesting just to go and read it. This next one here is the Piper J3 Cup. It was built between 1937 and 1947. The plane is older than by Piper Aircraft. and during World War II, he was called the L4 Grasshopper. Now we arrive to my favorite part. This is in Bowling Green, and this is the Corvette Museum, which is located very close to the General Motors factory where they make the Corvettes. You can, from the museum, you can also get a tour of the factory. You can request it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but you can request it. This museum has every single model of Corvette that they ever built, and it has very many interesting facts. For example, Zora Arkus Duntov is the father of the Corvette. He was the one that designed the Corvette. So I didn't know that. This is a 1954 Corvette that was, it spent 30 years in a brick tomb. So you have to go to the museum and read the story, because this is really interesting story about this car. This is what they call Route 66, and it has different models of Corvette. The reason I'm interested in this Corvette is because my mother used to have a 1957 Corvette, which I got to drive when I was about, about 16, 17 years old. It was a really powerful car. The 57 Corvette didn't have the two lights, it had only one. The museum also shows you the factory where they build the Corvettes, but it's much more interesting to go see it in person. The history of the Corvette, it's in here. The 57 Corvette, this car here is a 58 Corvette. The enthusiasts, Corvette owners, were the first people that put the car in car races. The company didn't put any cars in car races until after that. This place that we're seeing here is the showroom. Part of this, it's inside the Sky Dome. And the Sky Dome had a story, because on February 12, 2014, you know that Kentucky's full of caves? Well, the ground opened up, as you will see, and it swallowed a whole lot of Corvettes that were in the floor, and they rescued most of them. The Corvettes that were inside, all of them, I think. And the devil was very happy. Thank you, God, for sending me a Corvette. The hole was like 40 feet deep. They recovered most of the cars, all the cars, I think. And then some of them they still have there, and they will show them to you. Some of the cars came out unscathed, and the majority of them came out all messed up, as you can see. This is in the Sky Dome, which is 140 feet in diameter, and one more 100 feet has a glass ceiling. And now I leave you with the 1959 Corvette.
Life is an adventure and the world is huge, so subscribe today and join us as we explore and share it with you.